Hello. I'm basically making this video for one person who I know shares my obsessive interest in this sort of thing, right? So I hope you like it, and I hope it's something you can fall asleep to, because it's lots of really boring talking about knots. This is where most of them live, in the cupboard. They're string dolls. There's also some random... Oh, no, don't turn the camera. Random odd stuff. And then I'm in my shed, so apologies if the sound is bad. And also I gotta keep the fan on because it just rained here. It's so hot and humid. So this is my really messy desk that I deserted because Luke helped me do a lot of this. And so I haven't really been back here since he's been gone. But this is the best excuse, because finding someone else who likes making knots in string, that's golden. Okay, I'd also do want to show you Margaret and how she operates, but I need two hands, so I'm just gonna stabilize the camera. I don't know a lot about editing, right? So I just make a video and then I can slap it together in an editor with another video. Just now, why I never finished the doll tutorial, because it's a bit beyond my capabilities at the moment. But the Odra deck thing. But if you don't mind it being messy and you just want something to listen to at night, it might work. And that is within my editing capabilities. So let me put my camera in my phone in this thing. And apologies for all the mess once again. I got motivated enough to come down here, but not motivated enough to clean anything, really. So this is Margaret. I just say hello, Margaret. Oh, you can see my hand over here. Manipulating the stick. Rah, rah, sis bamba. Hello, Margaret. Oh, hello, love. How are you doing today? Would you like a cup of tea? Not really. I have had 2 coffees and a Monster energy drink, so that's why my hands are going to be shaky in the video, and I apologize for that. It's alright, love. We all have those days, you know. I promise I'm not a crazy person sitting in my shed talking to puppets. I mean, I am sometimes, but mainly I just like to make stories with them and think of future stuff that I could, make little plays like I used to when I was little. Okay, right, but Margaret's gonna go because I'm gonna focus in on the string dolls. I apologize in advance if the edits are abrupt. I know how to do fade in and fade out, and that's about it still at this stage, which is why I can't do the Odra deck things. And then this is a giant to-do list I made of what I'd have to do to make a tutorial and all the steps, because these are just one kind of the dolls, right? They come in, I made so many variations that every time I get to a step, I'd be like, well, you could do it this way, but you could also do it this way, or this way, or this way, etc. So, but because I know you like to do micro macrame already, this would be so much easier just to explain directly to you. And even if it's a video only you watch, that would make me so happy, because I really do think these guys would look really good in micro macrame, as little charms for bags and stuff. Oh my god. These guys are pretty small already, and this is just paracord. I can't remember what gauge. I probably wrote it down. But there's something I should show first, because this was the inspiration for me to make these, but I'm going to change the camera angle yet again. Okay, I closed the shed door, so there should be less traffic noises now. This was a pattern that existed online, because I like making puppets and I like string, so I was like, And I'd also just started, I've been knitting since I was 9, right? But it only just occurred to me a little while ago that I was like, there are so many other knots. Why do you not learn those? So I was making random stuff. This is just, oh my god, I should have looked it up in the name of it. Oh, right, yeah. I was right. It is a diamond knot. It's this is a single strand diamond knot, then an emperor knot here, snake knot, emperor knot again for the feet. And I thought these were really cute, so I started looking up like macrame dolls and stuff, but I couldn't find any that I liked, so I started making these, the other ones, which I'll move the camera again, and I'll go through like with my insane Word document. I'll go through the steps because, like, if nothing else, then you'll know how to make it. That's awesome. Okay, let me switch the camera around again. Yeah, this successfully moved all the crap out of the shot. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. No, but so these are all the ones that are made in the same basic way, with slight variations here and there. So I thought I'd go through it and start with the most basic one, and then split when we get to the neck, because there are different ways of doing that. Pretty much 3 different ways. So I'll split then, and I'll read out what I've got on the Word document, even though it sounds dumb. So I hope my voice is pleasing and not annoying. And if it is, what I'll do, right, is I'll make the video and then I will run the sound through some sort of transcription software, and then I'll edit it and I'll ask my roommate if I can read it on his microphone. So definitely let me know about that, please. So it's this guy, right? This is, I guess, the most basicest one. He's actually made from the same string as the others, but I just put him in T for a little bit, and I really like how that came out. Okay, so I'll start with this, and I hope it's super boring and good for you. I can barely see through the camera thing here, but I'm gonna do it. So, I'll just in essence just a, I like very bare bones document. But yeah, what I really wanted to do was make a video that was more of like a choose your own adventure book than a tutorial, and put like all the timestamps at the bottom so that people could skip my boring ramblings and go straight to the chapter they want if they wanted to make the doll. But anyway, you'll see why it got bigger and bigger. And then I was like, okay, so the first thing I've got to do is like I got to make sure I have the capacity and all the tools to demonstrate all the knots. And because I don't want to like demonstrate every single knot for everything, I should probably link to other videos where people have done that. Or I'm sure you know that site. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's the one that has all the gifs of knots that are beautiful and amazing. Maybe I could link that in the description even for this video, but I'm sure you probably know it already. Oh, and then I was like, definitely practice on spare bits of rope first, because like I've ruined a bunch of rope with knots that are too tight and stuff. Oh yeah, we can skip through a lot of this, because like I'm not even going to show you how to do the knots. I'm just going to tell you what they are, and trust that you like knots enough to want to do it, right? Which it's hard on the internet. Like this video is not flashy. I don't know how to like make things go biff and bang, and besides that kind of gives me a headache anyway, so hoping this is the opposite of that, right? Okay. So I can't do timestamps yet. Okay, so we're actually going to start with the guy, right? So this is a 2-strand diamond knot. I tie it around my middle finger. Maybe I can find all the things and link all the timestamps, but I'm very tired. So yeah, a 2-strand diamond knot. So what happens then, right, is it's hidden here because of the whipping. But you end up having a ball with 4 strands coming out of it. And then because my original ones, the neck was not very sturdy, so I just did here, I hope the camera can focus, I did whipping with a thinner kind of string. Okay, I wrote it here in the neck sometimes. Endless Falls not whipping. I didn't say what kind of whipping, but that's probably in the document already. As you know, whipping is like securing like a large piece of rope by doing a smaller piece of rope around it either with a needle or with a method that you can find on the website, which I will link to one link I can do. Okay, so then The other kind of neck you can have is, I made this one. I was like, I'm sure people can't be asked to learn all this stuff, and you might just have a hair tie lying around, right? So that's what I used for this one. In this case, as you'll see with these ones, if you keep, so you can do two kinds of diamond knot, right? One that has no top. It's all tied into itself and snugged down before you start anything else. But if you make the kind that goes and has an additional loop, oh, I have a guy like that. That was the first guy. This guy and that guy, right? These are 2-strand ones, not 4-strand ones. So they'd have less hair. But if it's a 2-strand diamond knot, you'd also end up with 4 pieces coming out here. And then you can, if it's whether it's organic rope or whether it's like my mind wants to say acrylic because I'm a knitter, but a synthetic is probably the proper word. You can then tease out the hair. This little guy, this is probably one of my first little guys because I didn't make the shoulders very good. But yeah, so what I did is, because I had 2 loops coming out, I just did this one in a fishtail braid with thinner rope again. I love doing fishtail braids. It soothes an itchy part of my brain. So with that, you could get rabbits or you could get like any number of things, really. Oh, my roommate is outside making changes to his bike. Give me 1 second. He actually uses the other half of the shed. So he does his motorbike stuff in here, but he's very graciously granted me my shed's time. So yeah, hair and stuff. Another option for the head is to use a bead or something. I actually got wooden beads, big wooden beads, because of this, but I made puppets with them instead, not dolls. So this is just a cork. And if it has the loops coming out, you can just I literally just cut strands of yarn and put it in here. And then when I did it, I pulled it really tight so the base of it popped into its head. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll cut the video again and I'll go get the puppets because that kind of explains what I mean better. Okay, so we have a brief diversion about puppets, which again, the video had timestamps you'd be able to skip, but you can't. You're stuck with me. I mean, you can skip forward. I don't know till when because I'm only making it now. But I really like Czech puppetry. They make amazing wooden puppets, but some of them, the ones that I like, are the ones that are kind of blank and could be anybody. So the reason they've got sticks is because the puppet theatre is top down. This is not a great angle for it. But it's the same principle with the hair. This one I did some knotting around to give her like a little crown thing. This one is the same as the puppet doll. I just shoved a kebab stick in there. I like that you can turn them around because I'll be able to glue little faces to them if I want to. This guy has a hat which I stole off a Sylvanian family's character, but it was mine to pillage. Don't worry, I didn't take it off of a child. That's what I meant by adult magic. And this guy is just 2 of the corks. I kind of like him because he's got like a good palace guard and stuff like that. I want to make a rig so that I can put string in, one that goes up and down that's movable. But that's another one of those things where I'm don't have the skills for that yet. But anyway, brief diversion on puppets over. Cutting the video again. I think it was too far away before I made it closer. I said I was done with puppets, but actually I call her Prototype Chan, right? Because I was originally obsessed with the idea that I could build an actual marionette rig and do it, but I don't have anywhere to keep it where the rigs won't get tangled, and it's actually really much harder to do than I thought. So yeah, Prototype Chan, I'm sorry. You're basically a doll now. Maybe I can attach her to something. She does have this ring in her head. So one that I really like is putting, I use hex nuts as beads a lot because they're like cheap, and also they have a very pleasing heft to them. Like, this guy feels really good to hold. I don't know if I can explain that properly. But yeah, you just need 2 bigger hex nuts for the torso and the neck. Theoretically, I'd have one that was a different, slightly smaller size here. But I didn't have one, so I just made do. And then these ones are smaller ones. So those are all the ways of doing the neck, except for the last one, which is, this is an endless falls knot. It's very popular in macrame, so I know you know exactly what it means. I can't, I'm obviously a reverse, reverse endless falls knot on the other side, but because I learned the reverse way, I always do the reverse way first. And in the end, this is the way I decided is the best for the shoulders and neck, because it does give more shape and definition to the neck, number one. Number two, you don't need any extraneous bits, you know, it is just only string, no additional whipping, no elastic, nothing. So I kind of fell in love with this design. And this is the one that I'm going to explain whether it has, you know, crazy hair or no. And I'll split it up when I get to the stopper knots. But basically, that video I showed you before where I was sad and made stopper knots, that's, those are all the ones that I use for the hands and feet. So really it's that video. Oh, and I can link that video too. That one won't be hard to link. So, moving on to the shoulders, I'll have to change the word docking. Oh, okay, wait. I started on stopper knots first because I did not know that shoulders were required. Oh my god, it's so far in here. Oh, crap. I just realized it's double-sided. Okay, I'm pausing because me looking through a giant paper document is surely annoying. Okay, so it turns out past me wasn't very helpful at all, so I'll read out what she said, because weirdly enough, this is the only part of the tutorial where I'd actually need to show you, because this is part that, like, I can tell you what the knots are, but it's better to see. But I'll read you out what past me said anyway. Okay, shoulders. The key to splitting body parts is to do it the same way the human body is set up, with symmetry split along the y-axis, which would obviously be this one. So basically what I'm saying is once you have your initial overhand knot, endless falls knot done, right, you'll end up with 4 cords coming out. 2 of those cords get used to make the torso, which is a snake knot, and then it carries on to the legs. But what you have to essentially do is like grab 2 of the 4 pieces coming out after you've done your after you've done your neck thing, you know, and then you do the endless falls knot. And then these are just overhand knots, but I'll read the rest of it first because it is a bit helpful. Each knot you tie on one side should be mirrored on the other side. This is why it's important to understand the structure of knots rather than just following a sequence of moves that you might forget easily. Oh my god. I'm such a pedantic info dumping, like, I'm actually kind of person. I'm sorry about that, but I hope that maybe you would, like, appreciate it. I find it easier to complete the initial knot for the shoulders and then proceed with the rest of the body before doing the rest of the arms, so that everything can be pulled tight in proportion to the body and legs. This is why you also might want to draw out the proportions beforehand. Oh, I forgot that, right? Like, if you want to, you can draw exactly how big you want your guy to be with his arms and legs and torso. And then you sort of just line it up in this silhouette, like, you know, like a chalk outline of body style as you go. And that really helps with making sure you've got things symmetrical and also to the length that you want, right? Okay, no, that was good advice, past me. Thank you very much. But I see that we went, oh, finishing shoulders and hips. Oh, I did get to it. Oh my god, I got to it. I didn't read far enough in the document. Again, when I cut again and not be so dumb this time. I see what my past self was on about, right? She was just saying that for the shoulders you can put beads here or not, but it doesn't matter. Look, with the end of the Endless Falls knot, you'll have one set of that naturally wants to go this way, and you'll have one set that naturally wants to go down. So my thing was I was going to explain that, like, you start with these snake knots coming from the body. The bane of my existence is that snake knots are not symmetrical. Like, the human pelvis is symmetrical. This obviously is the back because it mimics the shoulder muscles in the, I can't remember what they call them for, when sculpture students have to make like an anatomical sculpture. But yeah, I was pleased with myself because like the back comes out nicely. So what you can either do here or do, I think this was 2 overhand knots that are opposite to each other. And then with this one, I skipped one of the overhand knots and then did one overhand knot to tie the bead on. So if we go down to the hips, these are, I've heard them called Matthew Walker knots, and I've heard them called barrel knots, but they're my favorite thing because you can basically make as many loops as you want to. This is one with 3 loops, but as you can see, right, this is where I would always confuse myself because you have to do it in the other direction, and this is the best way to see that, because this way the inside thread is going, let's call it clockwise, while this one's going counterclockwise. But yeah, you can really get a lot of variations with this. I'm going to show all of the variations of all the different things that I've done at the end. This is also the same thing, exact same thing. And then I made sure that it too, you can't see it because this is synthetic rope, so I burned the ends on this side, that you can see it here. The same clockwise, anti-clockwise situation. Oh wait, I twisted them, but it still works. It still works. I'm obsessed with things being symmetrical, and that's why a lot of the art I make and the faces I draw are split down the middle for various reasons, which are boring to get into. But yeah, so of course with this, I put that one there before I started doing the barrel knots. I put 2 hex nuts here. These are actually stopper knots, which I love. It's harder to, you have to leave enough space for it to fray if you're leaving non-synthetic rope, because obviously you can't burn the ends. But I like it like that. They look more witchy, like Blair Witchy. Okay. Calm down, Taz. Okay, let me get all the other ones so I can show like more variations of what you could do and like different ways to make the body. Cutting again. Okay, so like 60% of why I'm making this video is because I really did want to do this. I wanted it to be better than this, but also because it's so nice to talk to someone about knots who already likes knots, right? But also like the other 40% is like these guys are just normal string, dude, but like, can you imagine how wee and cute they would be in micro macrame? Oh my god, they would be like so small. To use thread, like you would have to probably like bulk it up a lot. What gauge are you using for thread? I'll actually go have a look on your profile and see if I can see any of your projects. Like, I don't know if you could make them that small, but like this is what, like in terms of yarn, I'd say it's like solid double knitting. So if it was like thinner than that, they really do like expand and decrease in size quite quickly based on the type of rope. Like, look at the difference we've got here. Like, that's not much of a change in gauge at all. And yet he's massive. I call him my Nightmare Before Christmas scarecrow guy. But anyway, yeah, he's one of the alternative things I'm going to explain now. I also couldn't resist adding her. I was listening to a lot of Epic the Musical at the time and thinking about sirens when I made her. She was meant to be a puppet, but she ended up just being a doll. She's also wearing clothing swiped from Sylvanian families. But I'm kind of in love with her tail, right? Oh, hang on, let me show you. I attached this with an endless falls knot also, I think. Or I can't remember how I did it. But it was 4 coming out. And then I used the other 2 strands to make a fishtail braid with the 2 strands that were there. Then when I got to the end, I made a separate fishtail braid for each of the fins. And like, I think I burned the ends in pretty well. I think, oh, there they are. You can see them, but I don't think it looks bad. So yeah, this is my crazy Coraline Siren witch lady. I have other dolls like this, but they are not relevant to knots, really. They are not relevant. I'm surprised I have not made that joke before, and I apologize. Her arms, I do kind of want to redo. They are just snake knots as well. The thing is, I was trying a lot of different stuff when I built it, so not everything is exactly, the best way it could have been, but I still like her a lot. Okay, so this is one of my favorite variations, whereby you could use a bead, right, to run it through like this, but this is not a bead. What I did is I made a diamond knot here, right, and I messed it up. So I covered it with air dry clay, and then just hung it from a clothes peg and waited for the air dry clay to dry. I did make the rest of the body without it, and it does have a couple interesting variations, I think. This is the endless falls knot. So it did have 4 coming out. It was an endless falls knot all the way down to the body. Can't remember what I did here, but like, I really like it. The shoulders are the best part to fool around with, really. And they're the part of this recipe that that are the hardest to explain. I should make a video of me making one. Maybe I will do that. More Matthew Walker knots or barreled knots. These are peeper knots, which are great in macrame, but for hands, the little bit is funny. So I wouldn't do it with string. And I wouldn't do it with organic rope, only synthetic, because if you can't burn the ends together, they do tend to come unraveled. These are snake knots for the legs, and then I must have done something with the feet that I also hated because I covered it up with clay again. This guy, oh my lord. Okay, so it's white air drying clay that I'm using, right? And I thought this was one of the original ones that I made that doesn't have good shoulders, and I messed up the knots at the end. You can see instead of having 2 coming out, oh no, wait, he does have 2. He does have the right number of knots coming out, but I failed to do shoulders, right? So he was one of the first ones. Also messed up this part, right? So as I covered him in air drying clay just like this, and then what I was gonna do is I was gonna paint on here a black circle and put like a moon and stars in it, because to me he looked like an astronaut floating in space, but somehow he had hair coming out of his space helmet. So I was gonna make him an astronaut, and then I was like, oh, I've made a mistake here with the I was using a paint pen, right? And then I smudged it. And then in a flat panic, I was like, maybe I can do it with the paintbrush. So like I tried to wipe it off and I ran and got a paintbrush, but then everything turned gray and then I panicked and I was like, maybe I can paint the head. And then I got paint on the string. Oh my God. This was such a disaster of a project. There was just paint everywhere all over my room because I was just like panicking. But anyway, they both work on the same principle, and if you are better at painting things than me, I think this is really great because, it's almost porcelain doll-like in that you could paint the faces, but not if you're me, apparently. She is the same. Corks I find really useful because, like, you can just get them from people who drink wine. I don't drink wine. I think it's gross and it tastes like rotten fruit juice. She's got the endless falls knot, but I think, did I do 2? No, endless falls knot, and overhand knot here. Another Matthew Walker knot for the shoulders, peeper knot as well. I think I messed up. I would have done a longer one, and she's got gaps here, but I like her because she looks a bit like a skeleton, but when you dress her up, she's got cool hands and feet. And let's see, I think that's it. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I think we got through all of them. So yeah, Peter, my obsession with the Book of Sonder is a minor one. This is a a slightly more obsessive one. Let me go through the rest of the document and see if there's anything else there to add. Okay, no, this is good. Pasni did actually have good advice at the back of the document, so I'll just read it out if you're not looking at the screen. You can, finishing off, you can adjust the position of any of the knots at this stage. Don't worry if it's a bit wonky, because that is what gives one of them each their own individual charm. Yeah, that's definitely a sentence that I wrote. For cloth rope, okay, ends will fray as you can't melt them. Put all of the knots into position as tight as possible and then wet the rope so it binds better. Hot is especially good for this, which any good sailor knows. So look, make sure you pull everything really tight before you do this, because if it's cotton rope especially, it will stretch and you'll get little gaps between the knots. But yeah, like I said, I find that charming. You can also put glue in the crevices of the knots once done. Yeah, I take one of those little super glue tubes, and luckily, you can't even see which ones I even did it on, like, for any of them, because I just take one of the tiny tubes and, like, squirt a little bit into the crucial places. Where are we? For synthetic rope, ends can be cut closer and then melted, since it's slipperier. You can also use glue in the crevices, or alternatively use a lighter to melt parts together, which I have done also very sneakily because you can't see. You know, when you melt the ends of synthetic rope, and ideally you don't like just touch it with your finger like this, like me. You have some sort of tool to like jam it down so that it like melts nicely. Here, if you just sort of take a lighter roguishly, it's better to do it with one of those long ones now, and just sort of quickly give it over a few times, but you have to be careful, otherwise it will start melting and look funny. And also, by God, if somehow a child comes across this video on the internet, do not do the things with the lighter and the rope, and if you don't have a parent, like go get an adult. It is not safe to do. I have burned my hands and arms on things so many times. Do not be like me. Oh my God. Okay, I actually forgot to explain this guy. I might make a separate video for him because he's done very differently than the others. Yeah, look, he does not fit into this, but if you're interested, I can make a separate video. Adding clay details. You can also put the air drying clay directly onto the rope and it will grip beautifully, allowing you to add extra details once the knots are already done, as opposed to stringing them on as you go. This is great for heads, hands, and feet. You can also use heat moldable plastic or paper mache for this. Oh yeah, I forgot. I found out about heat moldable plastic in the middle of this, but I don't have any examples of that here because I used it for different stuff. Oh, or paper mache, also valid. I make too much of a mess when I make paper mache anything, and have done since about the age of 3, so so the question for me. Okay, important safety note. This is what is the most important. Sorry for knocking the camera. If you're adding clay to an existing rope doll, it's safe to use air-dry clay on both cloth rope and synthetic rope, right? However, if you're using polymer clay and you want to bake it while attached to a doll, you can only use cloth rope for this, because if you put it in the oven, the plastic from the synthetic rope could melt and release toxic fumes, and also you could burn yourself and you could burn your kitchen down, and that would all be bad, right? I watch a lot of Anne Reardon videos where she debunks dangerous things, and by God, I do not want to be that person. So, like, synthetic rope doesn't go in the oven, doesn't matter what you do. Air drying clay, perfectly fine, because you don't have to bake that. But polymer clay on cloth rope, perfectly fine. I can actually show you some examples of that in the end in different dolls. Please do not put synthetic rope in the oven. And the person who I'm making this video for, I don't think you're stupid in particular, and I don't think people are going to see my videos, but I just really want to stress that. Okay. Finishing hair, we already talked about the top loops. But if you're using synthetic rope for the hair, what you can do is once you've unraveled the strands of the rope, you can put it in boiling water, and that's why this one has a more lackadaisical downwards hairstyle than Frederick over here. Because I heated this in boiling water. You can do this with any doll that uses synthetic hair as well. Like, I like to make dolls, so it's a good doll tip. And then let's say, oh yeah, and then last thing I was explaining was about the bunny ears here. Okay, so I'm gonna make one more clip, and then I'm going to leave the shed and tell my roommate he can do all of his motorcycle stuff. But I also want to show you some dolls that have polymer clay heads, because I actually forgot about all of that. So we already had a wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous siren. Yes, queen. And then I was like, how could I get away with not showing you Wire Spider after all of this? And the reason we will never see him perform again, oh my god, is because this one leg, oh my gosh, it's broken over here, and I'm too scared to fix it. You can see it wiggles in a non-pleasing way. On the other side, you can see where that's coming unraveled. I tried to put a bunch of super glue on him, and all the other legs work fine. You can bend them anyway, although I am scared to do it. But yeah, oh my gosh. Wait, where was it? And this is the thing I can't, oh, it's this one. It's this one. Oh, my poor spider friend. So yes, he is retired from my weird little circus. If I ever have the space in a place of my own one day, I will just mount him on the wall or something, because I truly do love him very much. And yeah, these are the dolls with the polymer clay heads. Obviously, I baked them before adding any additional. This one did obviously have string coming out of it, but that was fine. I put these on after. This is Sneaky Pete, but I dressed him up to play Annie from Annie. He was gonna be a puppet, so as I was experimenting with the legs, but it didn't work out. And also because there's only string holding this down, this damn head spins around all the time, which I think would be hilarious for some like exorcist type situation. It is not great for puppetry. So Sneaky Pete is basically a doll now. And this is Margaret. She is still wearing Sylvanian family's clothing. Oh yes, very nice. But this was from a time where I was obsessed with clothes peg dolls. So I'm actually going to disrobe her, right? I love like folksy craft stuff that like people did hundreds of years ago. It's kind of why I'm obsessed with knitting and crochet so much. So I have these old-fashioned wooden clothes pegs. They come with a small knob on the end. So what I did is I just made the polymer clay head. I'm not that great at clay stuff either. These are safety eyes I jammed in. She has tinfoil in her head because that way you use less clay. And then for the arms, I didn't know what I was going to do. She has these leather arms, and the legs are obviously the clothes peg. But the problem with Margaret is that she's completely top heavy. I mean, she'd only be good as a doll if you happen to like historical clothes peg dolls. Which is a pretty niche interest, I guess. But the thing I like most about this is I do have dolls for which I've made really beautiful wig caps and stuff out of crochet circles, and then I add hair. Those are big dolls, so they're not here in the shed. They live in the room with me. I really do sound like a crazy doll lady, / man. I don't know, my voice is deep, so I don't know what you were assuming. I promise I'm very harmless. So I like knitting and crochet because they're all one long continuous strand, right? You could theoretically make a whole granny square blanket if you had an infinitely long ball of yarn, and you wouldn't need to like sew anything besides the middle and the ends. Actually, here we go. These are all our little crochet squares, hexagons. Bless, but like obviously they have joins because I do embroidery, but I just hate plain sewing because we had to do it in school when I was growing up. And the ladies who taught us embroidery and plain sewing and such like were so perfectionistic that, and I prick myself with the needles all the time. So I do like doing embroidery sometimes. I hate fiddling with little fiddly bits of thread and things. So I'm very proud of this because this is a crochet wig and cap made all in one piece. You only have to weave in the middle end here, and I just glued it down. Oh, Sneaky Pete has his. Yeah, glued it down with super glue, which works really well. Or even contact glue is probably better because it gives you two tacky surfaces, you know. Mugger was the very first experiment with this. So I just made this one immediately after. But yeah, that's it for the video, and I hope you like it, and I hope the noise is not bad. I'll just go dump all of these files from my phone into my computer after this, and then probably go edit it tomorrow, because I don't know what time it is. It's definitely time of the night. The creatures of the night, what music they make. Sometimes I watch Bram Stoker's Dracula and I think of how good it would have been if Keanu Reeves could just do a damn English accent. He could be as wooden as he wanted to. It's fine for the character. The character is boring. Jonathan Harker is boring and has never eaten chicken with paprika in it before he got there. But that is a whole other tip. So I hope you like this. And I really hope you, that the pain is not bad, because I know from different circumstances than yours, but I know how that feels and it sucks. And like, if me murmuring and being an idiot in a YouTube video about string dolls that is badly edited could like even help at all, that would be awesome. Otherwise, even if it doesn't help, I've had the most fabulous time, and like we got through, oh my god, we got through the giant double-paged Word document. Oh, hello, my little friends. And good night to you, or good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are.